The prelude is about to begin.
Some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. Hey.
If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. And always the gone.
For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face curtain with a bow. Forget about your sin, give the audience a grin. It's nothing to enjoy less anyhow.
Good morning. Good morning to you at home. I told Dylan to surprise me this morning. That was so good. So, yeah. Happy Father's Day, fathers. Raise your hand if you're a dad. And happy Father's Day to the grandfathers. Do we have some grandfathers? Yeah. We have any great grandfathers? Okay. Oh, we do. Aren't you lucky, Dennis? That's incredible. We're going to light 2 candles this morning. The first is, as it has been since October, for the people of Gaza and Israel, the Ukraine, and Russia, and that the peace talks that are going on come to fruition. The other candle this morning I light for all of you. Because of the length of this service, we will not be doing candles of the heart this morning. Please bring your joys and concerns to next week's service. And so we light this for you. Today is my last service with you. So it is a bittersweet day. And I am going to enjoy every minute of it. The opening words are by one of my favorite poets who you have perhaps heard this before, Stanley Kunitz, who was the poet laureate of the United States in his 90s. And he wrote this in that decade. It's called The Layers. I think you'll understand why I chose it for today. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides from which I struggle not to stray. When I look behind, as I am compelled to look before I gather strength for the next part of my journey, I see the milestones dwindling towards the horizon and the slow fires trailing from abandoned campsites. Oh, I have made myself a tribe out of my true affections, and my tribe, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. My tribe is about to be scattered. How shall the heart be reconciled to this feast of loss? In a rising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn exalting somewhat with my will intact to go wherever it is I need to go. And every stone on the road is precious to me. In the darkest night, when the moon was covered and I roamed through wreckage, a nimbus clouded voice said to me, live in the layers, not in the litter. Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter of my transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes, and neither my friends are you. So please rise in body and spirit to join us this morning in singing the opening hymn. We laugh, we cry. It seemed like the title alone was right for this morning. And join your hearts and your voices.
Good morning. I'm Allison Barish. My pronouns are she and her, and I would like to invite Laura and Whit Otten forward to light the chalice, the symbol of our faith. Haywood. I invite you to consider these words from Katie Salvani Gelfand. We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice. This spark of new beginnings invites us into a sacred space to reflect where we have been and where we are going. Even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing, we fear not its end. For we know with brave hearts that from every ending in our lives, we are sent forth to make a new beginning. Thanks. I have a few announcements. First of all, in case you missed our announcement last week, we will be welcoming Reverend Dr. Madeline Campbell as our new contract minister. She'll be starting with us in August. You can read more about her in the flash. The summer services schedule will soon be available. And in next week's Sunday service, we'll be honoring the coming of age youth from this congregation, and we'll have an opportunity to hear their credos. On June 30th, we'll gather to watch the General Assembly service of all Unitarian Universalists. As we approach the end of our congregational fiscal year, please try to complete your pledge for the 2023-2024 year by June 30th. If you're not sure what your pledge balance is, you can call or email your treasurer, that's me. This time of transition between years is tricky, and it's very helpful to the finance volunteers if you're writing a check, if you can indicate which year your pledge payment is for, if you're finishing off this year's pledge, or if you're starting next year's pledge early. Just a little note will help us tremendously. Thank you as always for your support. And finally, signups for the June 30th blood drive are happening in the gallery. Please see Terry. You can get all these details and more in this week's flash and on our website. If you're not yet receiving our weekly newsletter every Thursday, you can sign up on the homepage at UUFH.org. Now, please join me in singing the affirmation. The words will be on the screen.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sandra Jens. I'm the acting Sunday school coordinator. We would like to recognize the teachers at this time who volunteered their time to teach and inspire the UUFH children and youth this past year. These teachers work sometimes 2, 3 to 4 times a month and created great lessons for your children. I'd also like to thank the parents who substituted over the year. Please stand up so we can recognize you, the parents and teachers. Thank you. We have a gift for each of you teachers. So please see me after the service and I can give that to you. Thank you so much for volunteering this past year. And we'd also like to recognize Jenna and Jackie, if they could please come forward. These ladies are both professional preschool teachers, and they're leaving us this year, unfortunately, as professional preschool teachers. So we'd like to give you both a token of our thanks. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Connie Sorsher. My pronouns are she, her, and this is Carolyn DeRazio. We are the co-chairs of the RE Committee. We'd like to recognize everyone's service on the committee this year for their hard work and tireless effort. If you are on the RE Committee, please come up. We have a gift to present. We have Jen, Rima, Andrea. I don't know if Ben is here.
So yesterday, 3 of our students came of age at a ceremony here at UUFH, and 9 of our middle schoolers completed our OWL, Our Whole Lives program this year. Will the COA and OWL students please stand to be recognized? Thank you. We have a couple things for Reverend Deborah from the RE committee and from all of us. So Reverend Deborah, we'd like to present to you a memory book so you can remember all the children and youth that you've inspired here at UFH. The children and youth really look up to you, and some have only known you as their one minister. We love you and we will miss you.
Good morning. In September, I welcomed you all with the new year, with your new school shoes and your freshly sharpened pencils and your clean notebooks. Today, our shoes are scuffed or we're in flip-flops. Our pencils are down to the nubs and there's no erasers. And so it's time to say farewell and to welcome some new people. It's my privilege to honor some outgoing board members. Leaving this board this morning is Shelley Lauer-Bader. As board secretary, Shelley has always stayed on top of what needs to be done as the year progressed. She kept watch on our calendar, let us know what was ahead and what needed to be done, and she did it. I'll miss her thoughtful responses to our never-ending board items. She always brings up a viewpoint that we may have overlooked. Shelley? Vivian Storm is also leaving our board this June. I can't count the times I've asked legal advice from Vivian. She's always has the answer, delivers it concisely with expertise and knowledge. She's a calm presence on the board, and her advice and consultation this year has been invaluable. And her legal advice is always in alignment with her UU values. Thank you, Vivian. Donna? Last but not least, the board says goodbye to Ken Bewley-Newmar. He's leaving the board, but he better not go too far. Ken has been key in getting our governance model off to a good start, helping with covenants for committees, as well as being the point person for all the governance committees. A major job. Ken has been by my side both literally and figuratively this year. As past president, he helped me navigate the presidency. He always checked in to see if I was doing okay, if he could help in any way. And this is a very busy person, but he makes time for friends. And I'll know you'll be behind me in choir, so you won't go far. Thank you to each of you for all your support and love you gave the fellowship this past 3 years.
Say after Jerry. Jerry has been on the board of directors since I came here. She and Shelley worked hard with me on designing the governance system in many meetings. She has always been a kind and supportive leader who loves this congregation and Unitarian Universalism. She led us through the introduction of the governance structure this year. She even went to the police station twice for us this year. Don't get scared, Laura. I will miss working with her, and as a token of my appreciation for her and her dedication, and I hope you will wear this and remember me, this pendant from UU Chalice Works with a flaming chalice. And now one more rite of passage for the board.
So now we welcome our new board president, Laura Otten. So here's our official emergency bag to get you through the year. It's been handed down over the generations. Hope it helps you. The gavel's in there should you need it to tame the unruly crowds. I'm always here if you have any questions. However, I know from this past year, you're eminently up to the task. Thank you for being so willing to assume leadership in our fellowship home. Thank you.
The Unsung Hero Award, started in 1993, is presented annually at our Celebration Sunday in June to 2 UUFH members who have spent countless hours at tasks that very few people know about. Prior to 1996, selections were made by the Board of Trustees, and since 1999, the selection committee has included the recipients from the previous year and the secretary of the board. This year's committee members are Judy Gardner, Debbie Hosvar, and Shelley Lauer-Bader. To present this year's awards are the 2023 winners, Judy Gardner and Debbie Hosvar.
Good morning. My name's Debbie Hosevar and my pronouns are she, her. The first thing I need to say is that I know Jim Monier is taking great pleasure in the fact that I am speaking in front of you today. As daunting as this is for me, I am so happy to tell you about this unsung hero recipient. Some of you might remember the dynamic duo of Peter Cepez and Bob Lemke, our 2001 Unsung Hero winners, who took wonderful care of our fellowship. Well, this person is both of them rolled into one. This individual has been a member for 12 years, is chair of Building and Grounds, runs shared maintenance, has served on the board. He is on the security team, COVID task force, and Castle Care. He has installed and maintained the ring cameras, Wi-Fi, lighting, HVAC, and the lockbox for the fire department. He has painted the classrooms, hung decorations and posters, as well as set up and clean up for numerous occasions. Even with all of that, I'm sure I have missed a few things. If I am the Swiss Army knife of the fellowship, he is a true Renaissance man. He seems to always be here taking care of something besides having a full-time job and a wonderful family. I am sure you all know that the unsung hero I am speaking about is Jason DeRazio.
Thank you.
We're up to stay here. We are so very lucky that he is a caring and skilled member of our fellowship. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate you. And thank you for all you do as he runs away.
Good morning. I'm Judy Gardner. My pronouns are she and her. It's my great privilege and honor to introduce to you a very special, remarkable member of our beloved congregation whose contributions to this fellowship are amazing. This longtime member has recently been on the Board of Trustees and president of the Board of Trustees. She has led our esteemed search committee in our quest for a new minister and will continue in this role again next year. She helped launch our terrific safety committee, which has really helped us all, as has everything she's done. She's taught RE for years and years and also worked with older kids, the youth groups of our fellowship. She's constantly part of Castle Care and all the maintenance that goes into keeping this place on the move, including this morning, unloading chairs and setting up for the blood drive, which she has been in charge of for many years. Of course, you know she's a very active founding member of the Grow to Give Garden. She's been a worship associate up here, and she's worked not only with our fellowship itself, but with the larger community, being our representative to LIAC and our representative to the Anti-Bias Task Force. What a worker, what a doer. She never stops. We are blessed and grateful to have among us this wonderful leader and friend, our unsung hero, Terry Donaldson.
Okay, we're going to move on to the charity of the month. There's a lot going on today. The charity of the month for June is Pride for Youth. Founded in 1993, PFY works to enhance the health and wellness of the LGBTQ+ community through education, supportive services, and personal development. With offices in both Nassau and Suffolk County, they served over 9,000 individuals from Long Island and Queens last year alone. Now, during Pride Month, PFY needs your generosity more than ever so that they may continue what they do best, meeting the needs of the LGBTQ+ community in Long Island and Queens. Ushers will pass the basket while Dylan plays. For those of you at home, you can send a check to the office or donate through the website, Zelle, or PayPal. Thank you for your support of the work we do within and beyond these walls.
Do you remember my end of year joke from last year? What's the difference between a blimp and UUFH in 23-24? It's the difference between a good year and a great year. You're going to miss that one, right? So I am pleased to introduce our end of year video that represents all of what we did this year. I want to thank Sandra Jens for being the very best type of staff member for all that she's done. I'm pleased to let you know for the first time in public that she now has a title that better represents her responsibilities. Sandra is now our office director. And I want to also thank Dylan, who has only been here a little while, but is a wonderful music director. He is off to a great start. So thank you, Dylan. Dylan is going to play Seasons of Love while we watch Sandra's video, and I would suggest we go down so we can watch it too. Back to me. The tissues and the drink. I want to look at you. I've been thinking about this homily for weeks now and what to say to you in my final sermon to you. So I'm going to suggest to you a fascinating rabbit hole on the internet, which is to search the words famous last words. So you remember what Julius Caesar said? Et tu, Brute, and you, Brutus, as he was being assassinated. Oscar Wilde on his deathbed is alleged to have said, either that wallpaper goes or I do. Steve Jobs' family said at the end, he opened his eyes and said, oh, wow, wow, wow. Marie Curie, the pioneering physicist and chemist, reportedly said, I am not feeling ill. There is nothing wrong with me. Harriet Tubman sang Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Frida Kahlo, the artist, said, I hope the exit is joyful and I hope never to return. So I actually hope that my actual last words will be thank you and I love you to my beloved and my children, but these are different last words. And I realize that many of them I have been saying to you for these past 30 months together. Life is not a dress rehearsal. So that's pretty much the theme of at least half of my sermons and prayers. And so I hope that you will remember from me that we have this time, this life for certain, this day, and it is up to each of us to create our best life possible. Or perhaps you'll remember the condensed key 4 principles of Buddhism. Show up, speak the truth, do it with enthusiasm, and don't get attached to the outcome. Those are words I repeat to myself often, including this morning. Seek the wisdom of the sacred texts. They may not be true stories, but they have lasted because they are truth stories. When you celebrate future religious holidays, I hope you will ask yourself, where am I in this story? I hope you will remember that how we treat each other is more important than any decision you make, any outcome that happens. At our best, how we treat each other is how we reveal the divine intention on earth. Love, compassion, kindness are always the answer. Live your faith. Live our faith aloud. Join me in being an evangelical Unitarian Universalist. Our faith saves lives. Tell people about it. Take stands for the most marginalized, the most vulnerable, the most oppressed. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's a call to love everyone and to center your own self-compassion as you do it. Get involved every chance you can to stand up for your neighbors. Strive to live the first principle, even if it goes away. Live each day with the understanding that every person, no exception, has dignity and worth. That's not just reciting a Unitarian Universalist principle, that's a spiritual practice for every day. Mr. Rogers wrote, "Imagine if we all walked into the world with the belief that each person was inherently worthy. Imagine if our goal was to help each other recognize that we are worthy of being loved." Don't imagine, make it happen. Remember the difference between crisis and inconvenience. When a situation unnerves you, ask yourself, am I truly in a crisis? The plane leaving late, a little bit of turbulence, inconvenience. The plane crashing, that's the crisis. Traffic and long lines, even in Long Island, are always an inconvenience. Let them go. We have accomplished, as you saw in this video, so much together this year and last year. We celebrated our 75th anniversary with a glorious weekend, including a well-attended gala and worship service featuring 4 of our previous ministers. We put a progress flag outside of our property. We have a brand new website, a newly updated flash. We applied for and were certified by the UUA as an LGBTQ welcoming congregation. We supported a drag queen story hour and a family pride picnic. We fully instituted a new governance system. We installed the first wind phone on Long Island. We lived our faith aloud through our many social justice efforts. It's been a great year. In today's opening words, Stanley Kunitz wrote, "The next chapter in my book of transformations is no doubt already written," as is mine. As I think most of you know, Reverend Joel Miller and I have accepted the call to be co-ministers at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Newton, Massachusetts. We will be moving in mid-July, and we begin work on September 1st, but first we get a month and a half of vacation. We hope to serve there for at least 5 years. I am going to be a third time. He's going to be 2/3. I hope I'm going to spend that other 2/3 working on a book and a new research project. I am not done with my changes, but neither are you. I believe that UUFH can grow into even a larger and even more influential congregation. I hope you will look back to this time together and see it as an important time to realizing UUFH's mission and our vision. I am so grateful to you, to all of you, for this time as your minister. I hope you will forgive me where I fell short and know that I did the best I could to love and support you. Author John Pavlovis wrote this blog post. He said, "What would I want to say to you if these were my last words? I would want to have spoken words of love to you, words of healing, words of beauty, words that remind you to choose goodness and wonder and to keep going. I would want my words to be encouraging and life-giving and faith-affirming, to be a soft place for those of you used to hardness, to embrace someone who only knows distance, to bring a welcome breeze to the arid spaces people find themselves stuck in, to carry hope to a heart starving for it, to be a word that leaves a wake of peace. I hope you recognize the words of this homily are ones of love and gratitude to all of you. Poet E.E. Cummings sums up my feelings going forward. He wrote, "I will carry your heart with me. I will carry it in my heart." You all remember one last thing, Meister Eckhart's word that I have shared so many times. The only prayer we ever need is thank you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So may it be.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return.
It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown for its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a sky bird in a distant pole. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a ship from its passage, like a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do proclamation that I put together with some help from congregation members and a gift from the board to Reverend Deborah. Go ahead. Reverend Deborah, in the kingdom of UUFH. I need my glasses for this. Once upon a time, not long ago at all, there was a fellowship of folks in the small and well-loved kingdom of UUFH. The folks were fine. They did fine work. They held fine meetings and they made fine plans. And despite having recently lost their minister, in general, things in the kingdom of UUFH were fine. One day a stranger arrived in the kingdom. Now this fellowship of fine folks was very big on welcoming strangers, so they gathered together and someone stepped forward and extended a hand. "Welcome to the kingdom of UUFH," he said. "Who are you?" "My name is Reverend Dr. Deborah W. Hafner," said the woman with a big smile, "but you can call me Reverend Deborah. I am from a place far away. I heard that you have lost your minister, so I came to your kingdom to see if I could help." The folks returned Reverend Deborah's big smile and thanked her for coming, and she went to find a place to settle in. Instantly, a buzz began to spread throughout the kingdom. What did she mean she wanted to help? Weren't things just fine? The next day, Reverend Deborah set out to explore the kingdom, and she happened upon a committee having a meeting. They were talking about the kingdom's entrance and how welcoming it was to passers-by. They all agreed that it looked just fine. "Oh, yes," said Reverend Deborah, "that's exactly what I thought when I arrived. It's just fine. Except..." "Except what?" asked one of the committee members, furrowing her brow. "Well," replied Reverend Deborah, "I'm sure you probably already know that it's a little hard to see, and while it welcomes many, it doesn't quite invite everyone. If only someone had an idea on how to improve it." "Now that you mention it, I have an idea," said another member, and in no time the committee had a plan to make the entrance even more welcoming. "Thanks for the help," they said. Reverend Deborah replied, "I gave you the benefit of a fresh look at it. You did the work." And she went off to explore some more. Soon Reverend Deborah came across another group of folks who were discussing the safety of the kingdom. They talked about the entrance and the grounds and the spaces where they gathered, and they all agreed that although the world beyond the kingdom could sometimes be a scary, dangerous place, things inside were just fine. "Except," said Reverend Deborah, "you don't seem too sure about that." Someone in the group cleared her throat and said, "Well, we have locks and alarms, but we don't have any other protocols or plans or equipment for safety. I guess that's all we can do." "Is it, though?" asked Reverend Deborah. "If something doesn't exist, I bet you could simply create it." "You're right," everyone exclaimed. And in no time, a new safety team had been formed and set about protecting everyone in the kingdom. "Thanks for the help," they said. Reverend Deborah replied, "I gave you the encouragement to use the power of your own creativity. You did the work." And off she went, a bit of a spring in her step. As she walked through the kingdom, Reverend Deborah began to notice a growing commotion. "What's all the hubbub?" she asked someone nearby. "Well," they replied hesitantly, "it's just that some people wish they could do more to keep the kingdom running smoothly, while others are overwhelmed, taking on too much. It's so confusing that everyone isn't quite sure how to get things done. Don't get me wrong," they insisted, "things are fine, except..." Reverend Deborah finished the sentence, "except things could be better?" They nodded in agreement. Reverend Deborah asked for a diagram of how things were organized, and they drew it for her. She looked at it slowly and thoughtfully and said, "This looks sort of like a tree, but the branches are all attached at the top, way at the top. I've never seen a tree like this survive in the forest. It would topple in no time. Trees look more like this." And she drew a different picture of a solid trunk, but with many leaves on different branches, which were attached to each other and then attached to the trunk at various places. "Trees have more balance," she pointed out, "and the weight is distributed so it won't be top-heavy and fall over." They looked at the two drawings and then smiled at Reverend Deborah. Then they called to the folks who were running around and held up the tree drawing. "Hey, everyone," they said, "I have an idea." And in no time, the folks had designed a new structure for the kingdom to follow so that they each had a job and knew with whom to plan and how to get things done. "Thanks for the help," they said. "This will make us much more efficient." Reverend Deborah replied, "I talked to you about balance. You did the work." And she skipped away, humming a little tune. Before long, Reverend Deborah noticed that a crowd was gathering. Someone stepped forward. "We were wondering," he began. "You know we don't have a minister, and you've already helped us so much. Will you stay and become our new minister?" Reverend Deborah smiled. "I'm honored that you would ask," she said, "but that's not what I'm here to do. I came for a short time to see how I could help, not to stay." "But what will we do?" he asked. "How can we make the kingdom of UUFH inviting to a new minister?" Reverend Deborah replied, "You are already doing fine, except you have to keep thinking beyond fine. You have to think bigger and brighter and always about what's next. So tell me something that you think is fine." A man called out, "Our website, it's fine, but it could stand to be updated, streamlined, made more modern." "And?" Reverend Deborah asked. Excitedly, he replied, "I have a team to work on it, and we are ready to go." "Our kingdom staff are doing fine," a woman said, "though sometimes it's not easy to know who does what because our job descriptions haven't been clearly defined." Reverend Deborah asked her, "What is it that you do?" The woman replied, "Some of this, some of that." "Oh, I get it." She smiled. "I think it's time for us to figure this out once and for all." In no time, folks were coming up with ideas, and folks were volunteering, and folks were excited about the growing vitality in the kingdom. And as the excitement grew, so did the size of the kingdom, as folks came to see what all the buzz was about and decided to stay. Finally, the time came for Reverend Deborah to say goodbye. As she stood before the fellowship of folks in the kingdom of UUFH, they wondered if they could keep up the energy and excitement of all that had been accomplished after she was gone. Reverend Deborah smiled. "Oh, yes," she assured them all. "I know you can. I just held up a mirror so you could see for yourself that you all have the power, the creativity, and the drive to do whatever you want. You have done so much work. I'm sure that you will not simply be fine. You will be amazing. The future is in your hands." Just then, one of the fellowship folks stepped forward. "This is for you," he said, handing her a book. She opened it, and inside the fellowship had put together the story of how she had come to the kingdom of UUFH and all that she had helped them accomplish. Then, with many hugs and a few tears, everyone said goodbye, and they all turned out to be more than fine. They were amazing. The end.
I feel so seen. You guys, you got it, right? You got it. I'm going to pass that on to the interim office and be like, this is it. I've lost my place. I'm going to ask Ken and Terry and Jerry to come forward. I have to find my place. Terry and Jerry and Ken were the three board presidents during my time here. And this is a ritual that UUs do to release the minister, and you have two places where we're going to ask the congregation to speak. I think, Terry, you've got the first. Do you need a script? Script is up here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, come up here.
We can't cross-contaminate.
Got it right here.
Okay.
The life of our religious community is ever changing with new lives, new visions, and new possibilities. 30 months ago, we welcomed you, Reverend Deborah, as our minister at UUFH, and we have all benefited. We have been enriched and grown as you guided us with compassion and openness through your transitions and then interim ministry. Today, we must say farewell. Fellow congregants, please read these words to Reverend Deborah. Reverend Deborah, we are grateful that you came to practice interim ministry at UUFH. We laughed, we cried, and we grew as you blessed us with your gift for preaching and leadership. Even though you will no longer be with us, we will cherish the many memories we have shared. We will miss you, and we are excited for the new adventure that you are beginning.
To facilitate a gentle and harmonious transition to a new beginning, we have a ceremony of releasing for us all.
Do you, the members and friends of UUFH, now release Reverend Deborah from her role as the minister of UUFH?
We do.
Reverend Deborah, do you release UUFH from turning to you for ministry and guidance?
I do.
Reverend Deborah,
as of your last working day on June 22nd, you are hereby released from your ministry at UUFH. Will everyone please join us in a blessing? May you find aid in time of trouble, comfort in time of sorrow, and guidance into the ways of truth. We pray for you a full and healthy life, and that you find joy, peace, and the satisfaction of years well spent.
Our final hymn this.
No,
Oh.
wait. You thought you were done. On behalf of the board, it is a small token of our appreciation for everything that you have done for us, the love, the guidance, the helping to hold up a mirror to the board as well as the congregation, your unending support of everybody from the board all the way down to every member in the fellowship. On behalf of the board, please accept our gift.
It's purple. Okay, here. This was actually my ordination stole, and so to have a stole from you all. Can I ask who did it?
Laura? Thank you, Laura.
No, it's a tag. It's beautiful, thank you. Okay, this is we're gonna sing We Laugh, We Cry again. No, we are going to close, our closing hymn is Just As Long As I Have Breath, I Will Say Yes to Life. And that is a message that I hope you will all remember from me. So please rise in body or spirit and join your voices.
Say
Thank you. The closing words this morning are words you've heard before that I hope you will remember. If there is any good thing I can do, any kindness I can show to any person or any living thing, let me not defer or neglect it, for I may not pass this way again. And I'm going to ask you to say this with me. My friends, go in peace. May our real service begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Deborah. I think I can speak for all of us when I say we had the time of our life. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, choir. Thank you, band. I wish everyone at home a good day and invite those of you here to our last potluck of the season where we can break bread with Reverend Deborah. And if you would, please lend a hand in cleaning up and putting away, including the tables at the end. Thank you and have a good day.